Welcome to Dad's Talk Film, the show where we take a... Okay, hold on.
Did my wacka mess you up?
Welcome to Dad's Talk Film, the show where we take clips from a new movie every show and just talk about how it relates to life, fatherhood, parenting, and whatever else comes to mind. So be prepared for some rants because... I don't know. I think we're notorious for it. But speaking of rants and the rant king...
So many tangents.
I'm going to pass it off to Sean Marcus here and see how we're doing with the Ryan Reynolds situation here.
Yep. Thanks, guys, for tuning in again. Again, I botched up. I don't know why I can't get it right. I had the wrong Ryan. This time, though, we're getting it right here. So we've been waiting this many days. As you can see, we've been waiting patiently for this guy to contact us at dadstalkfilm@gmail.com. So Ryan, come on, get at us, buddy. So this time we've got the right Ryan, and we're waiting for you, buddy.
So let's jump into the movie here. We went ahead and did Meet the Fockers. So I'm going to let Sean Marcus actually explain this movie because this is his movie he picked. So
well, Meet the Fockers, as you guys know, it's a sequel to Meet the Parents, which we did earlier, or maybe we didn't. You never know. We filmed these a little bit ahead of time. But you've probably seen Meet the Parents, and you've probably seen Meet the Fockers. So this is the sequel where they are going to meet his side of the family, Greg Gaylord Focker. We're meeting his side of the family.
But they're actually going to the family. They're bringing the families together right now, though, because they are going to get married, and they basically need Dad's permission, who is Robert De Niro. And I'm going to be very terrible with names here on the characters' names. So if you have them, then plug them in for me. Yeah. Every time I say Robert De Niro, we'll just plug in the actual character's name. No. Yeah, but that's what's happening is they're going to get married. And
pretty straightforward.
They want to introduce the families together.
I'm sure everybody can feel the uneasiness of having to introduce their parents to their significant other's parents. It's never easy. It's always kind of nerve-wracking, usually. So much so that I actually felt relief once when me and this girl that I was seeing, we broke up before we ever got to that point because I knew our families were so completely different that it never would have worked out. I mean, it would have been chaos. So I can feel Greg's uneasiness and nervousness.
Did you ever feel like you needed to lie about what your parents did for a living? Oh yeah, because you said your dad was an OB, right?
Yeah. Actually, no, I've never had to lie about what my dad did. And my dad actually taught sex ed to us in 8th grade to our school. I was so nervous about it. Like I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so embarrassing. But my dad came in and on the chalkboard, he wrote, "Sex is cool." Uh-huh. And that was the first thing. It was a great icebreaker. And to this day, my friends still talk about like, dude, your dad was so cool about that. Like, remember that? When I'm like, yeah, of course I remember. Like it was
right?
Oh, it
was the most nerve-wracking thing in my life, having to listen to my dad say all.
Yeah. But no, I've never had to lie about what my parents do. I'm like, Greg, but you know, when her side of the family is super rigid and his side is so carefree and, you know, avant-garde, I guess, sex therapist and all that, like I could see why he lied.
Yeah, so technically he didn't totally lie. He just kind of stretched or omitted certain things. Like his dad apparently was a lawyer before, so he said that his dad was a lawyer, but once they had him, he became a stay-at-home dad, so he quit being the lawyer, and then, you know, the mom made all the money and stuff.
And why are we picking all these movies where like the women are like the breadwinners?
Because I relate. I never had to lie about what my parents did for a living. My dad worked for the gas company. So there's really nothing to hide there. I think the most I ever had to do was whenever you're bringing over a new girlfriend, I'd have to tell my dad, "Hey, like my girlfriend's going to be coming over. Can you put on a shirt?" Cuz he was always on the couch shirtless. I don't think he would have just like sat there with his shirt off when you're bringing over a new person, but when you're a teenager, you're always a little bit concerned about that.
So was he kind of like the dad from the Goldberg show? The
Goldberg.
Goldbergs.
Man,
Did you
I
ever
don't
see
even
that?
know
Because
if
he
I've
was
ever
always
seen that.
pantless. So
Ooh,
your dad was
no.
the opposite, where
Yeah,
he's
my dad.
shirtless.
Yeah, my dad always just had his shirt off.
So
was
if your
hot.
dad and the dad from the Goldbergs walked into a fast food restaurant, they could get service because they got
I mean,
shirt
only
and
if
pants.
they were riding piggyback or on each other's shoulders. So,
and both have had to wear shoes.
so my dad would technically have to be carrying the shirted guy on top, and then they got it covered. Damn.
That works.
How did
Okay.
we even? How did I've never?
I don't know.
I mean, I like it, but let's get into it. Let's see if we can
So the
somehow
movie, yeah.
get on track with this movie somehow. So yeah, Gaylord's super embarrassed about his family because super kind of, man. What would you say that they're kind of floaty,
carefree, avant-garde,
like, yeah,
right? I think avant-garde is the word. Let's look that up.
hippie-ish.
What does avant-garde mean?
Just put the definition.
I
right
might be using the
there.
wrong word.
But I like it. It's fancy. It just
Yeah.
makes me think of fencing. Though.
Yeah.
Look, so put
Yeah.
avant-garde, and then you have down here 2 little fencers. Just
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Ping, 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 ping. I took a month of fencing, and that
Did
is
you?
one hell of a workout. If you get the chance, like take one of those intro classes because it is fun
It's
and
probably fun.
a crazy workout, and it's difficult. So kudos. Anyways,
Yeah.
we digress again.
Whatever,
We
I don't know.
we should call this Dad Tangents Film
Uh-huh.
because that's what the T should stand for.
Dads get off topic quickly.
Yeah. I'm willing to bet that half of our audience of 10, so 5 of those people have ADD, and that's why they're listening.
Right? I was trying to like think about how to get back into what we just talked about because we just started over. So I think what we need to do is we just talked about his stuff. So let's cut to that. Whoop! Jack is a very kind of uptight, strict kind of. Well, he worked for the CIA. He was
CIA,
a retired CIA, so he's just a really stiff and by the book kind of structured type guy. Whereas Greg's family is very much hippie and kind of going with the flow. Like we mentioned, Greg's mom is
She's a
sex therapist.
Yeah.
For elderly people, I think. But
elderly people like to get it on.
yeah, and his dad was a lawyer, and then once they had Greg, he became a stay-at-home father. He basically lies to Jack because he wants to impress Jack and get Jack's blessing for the marriage and all that, and Jack has this whole idea of family legacy being really important, and like the whole, like, if your family's weird, it's bad genes on our legacy and you're just gonna destroy it. And he's like, if they're anything like you, I'll know where we're going. So they're definitely in for a treat.
I like that this movie started out like the first movie where he's like trying to get to the airport, and like it's the cab scene and like the luggage scene and all of that same stuff, where in the first one everything was going wrong, but in this one everything was going right. So they're like, okay, maybe things have turned, maybe luck is in his favor.
Yeah, upgraded to first class, like, and then on their way there, all the lights turned green. So they're just having this perfect day and moment. Yeah. Also, I think the fear for Greg is that he's been in the first one, he gets picked on so hard for being a nurse and being a male nurse, because Jack has this macho stigma of that's a women's job. I don't know. I think I can relate with that stuff because I'm a massage therapist, and a lot of people look at male therapists as, I don't know, being weird or something, or that it's a women's job, or you get the guys that come in and be like, oh, just like something weird about a dude touching me, and like, I don't know, like, get over it.
I've gotten massaged by a male massage therapist, and it was just the same. In fact, I mean, sometimes if you want a deep tissue one, sometimes they can get in, because they tend to sometimes have more weight that they can put down. But
Yeah.
actually, I I got to go on tangent again.
Yeah.
That male therapist, he was so great. He was from Santa Cruz. After the massage, he was just like, he's got this beach vibe to him. And then afterwards, he was just like, hey, thanks for hanging with me. Like we've been playing Xbox or something the whole time.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool.
I mean, yeah, that's a thing, I guess. I mean, I think that, I don't know. I don't even know what to say about that. There are some weird ones, or they're just a little bit more laid back.
He was a good one, though. So back to introducing your significant others to your side of the family. I actually used to think that I was cursed. I waited so long to introduce Stacy to my parents and my family. I think it was like 8 months into the relationship. She finally got to meet him because I was like, nope. I gotta wait. Because up until that point, anytime I introduced someone to my family, the relationship would end within a month of introducing them over.
Well, so was your family just really weird or what?
I mean, yeah, my family's weird, like every family, but like I don't know what it was. It would just be like over. So I'm like, okay, no, Stacy, I can't. I don't want this relationship to end. So I kept pushing it off. Finally, they met, and obviously I wish I would have done it sooner because my mom ended up passing away like 2-3 months later, I think, something like that. So, I wish I would have had more interactions with my mom and her, but
yeah, I get it. But it's super nice that she was at least able to meet your future wife, and and that you have a little boy out of it and everything. I think she'd be super proud and happy and excited.
Yeah.
So I just think it's nice that she was able to meet the person that you're spending your life with and creating a family with. So I think look at that and just.
How long until Diana met your dad? Or you said he's the only one that you really talked to from your family, right?
Not talking to my mom was like a recent thing. Last 4 years.
Got it.
But no, Diana's met my whole family, and she met them within probably the first month of us being together. So
making me look bad. Stacy, if you're watching this, that's not normal.
No, the thing is Diana and I had a long distance relationship. So I flew down to see her the very first month, and then we took turns. So then she'd fly up to Seattle to come see me. So she'd basically stay with me. And at the time, I was living at my dad's house again. We were both living at our parents' house. So at least that wasn't as awkward. But yeah,
I don't think you've ever told me how you guys met, though.
Yeah, we met through a mutual best friend. I've had my friends Mike and Jessica since 5th grade, and then Mike since 7th, and then they got married and they moved down from, up in Washington down to here. And once my 7-year relationship ended, I hit them up and said, hey, I haven't seen you guys in a while. I don't got anything going on for New Year's. Let me come hang out with you guys, just get out of the house and stuff. Diana was supposed to go to Vegas with us all, but couldn't. So she ended up watching Jessica's dog, and she came over to learn where the food is and when to feed and all that. And then we just started talking, hit it off. And the day before I flew back home, I asked her out on a date. So we just went on a walking date, and then I was booking a flight back down at the end of the month. And
so it was like a normal introduction, unlike me and Stacy with Bumble. Again, be a sponsor.
I don't know. I mean, it's like, I guess, more traditional. I guess you're just meeting in person. Is it normal? I mean, I don't know. I think dating apps and stuff are pretty norm now. Yeah. And I think you guys are fortunate that it worked out, because there's been a ton of people that it just seems like an endless pit of dating. So I think you guys are very fortunate with that.
I was on Tinder for, I think, 2.5 years, and I didn't go on a single date from Tinder. And I was on Plenty of Fish, and I was on Hinge, and all of them. Bumble, I think, was the only one that I really kind of liked, because the woman has to make the first move and introduction. And I think if they're asking you, they're already interested enough to put themselves out there.
Yeah, you're just not like a pushy dude being like,
hey, you're not one of 1,000 guys like, hey, Eggplant, eggplant, eggplant.
I've seen so many bad like messages that dudes will just send to women on those dating apps. I'm like, how do you get the balls to just say some of the stuff they do, man? They're
Yeah,
just so vulgar or just upfront, and you're just like, where did you learn this? Like, it's just
yeah.
so like disrespectful too, and like, why would do you think that's gonna work? And you're gonna, I don't know. Maybe it worked for him. I can't.
I actually, what was it? It was like a month and a half of talking to Stacy on the app, texting, on the phone before we even met for on our first date. And she was like,
Nice.
he's not interested. He's not interested. I'm like, no, like, I just want to make sure because I hate first dates. So I want to make sure there's a connection there before I go on that first date. So
Hmm.
if you're on a dating app, do yourself a favor, call them on the phone. If you can't talk to them on the phone for 5 minutes without wanting to hang up, don't go on a date with them. Because that is, if you can't talk to them for 5 minutes, there's no point in going on a date.
Yeah, I think that's one of the cool things about Diana and I's relationship is it forced us to have to talk to each other. I think people get caught up in the physical aspect really quickly, and then that just kind of creates this weird part where you don't really get to learn about the person. So I think us only being able to see each other for like a few days at a time. We saw each other 2 times a month because it was pretty cheap flying back and forth from California and Washington. But yeah, it was cool because we talked every day and we'd talk for hours and stuff, to the point where I'd be like, I have to go to bed because I have to work tomorrow, and she's like up super late still. And but I think it was cool. We were able to build a relationship, a solid relationship through communication and stuff. That, and then of course all the physical stuff, you know, super awesome. You know, when you get to see each other for the few days.
Yeah.
So
I don't know what you're insinuating.
yeah, right. Oh man, I met Diana's parents before I wanted to, honestly. I think it was the first time I flew down there to see her, and it was kind of late. It was probably like 10 p.m. or something, and she just needed to run home and grab something really quick. And I was kind of in that mindset of, I'm not ready to meet your parents yet, especially this late. I'm just not in the headspace. It's just kind of nerve wracking. And she's like, nah, they'll be asleep. It's fine. I just need to run in and grab that. We get there, and her mom is like in the window doing laundry or something right away. And I was like, dang it, I have to meet her parents already. It actually worked out really great. Her parents are super awesome and probably more on that hippie-ish side like Greg's parents are. Maybe not to the extreme, but they're definitely, I don't know, foo-foo or woo-woo, whatever you want to call it a little bit. They're like, I'm into personal, like self-help type stuff, and they are too, like, but to a more extreme. But it's all good. They're all super nice and all that. But yeah, it was kind of awkward to meet her parents the first time, but they were super accepting and actually welcomed me in really, really quickly, to the point where I felt so comfortable that I think, yeah, it was for Diana's birthday. So our anniversary is in January. By April, I went out there to visit her on one of the other trips, and I ended up wanting to bake her Ninja Turtle cupcakes. So I called her parents up and said, hey, I'm down here. Can I come over and use your oven and like bake these Ninja Turtle cupcakes? And her mom was all concerned. She's like, do you even know how to use an oven? I'm like, oh yeah, I've totally baked before. But they were so welcoming and comforting. They were super cool about it, and it was a good time.
Because you were making Ninja Turtle cupcakes, and they're like, yeah,
Yeah, right.
Who doesn't want Ninja Turtle cupcakes? I think I met Stacy's parents, mom and stepdad, it was early on. I think it was like Thanksgiving was actually, so that was like 2 months into it, I think. So it was pretty early on, and we came after the tail end of dinner. I didn't be there for dinner, but
yeah, I was gonna ask, like, did you get invited straight to the dinner, or
no? It was we had dinner at somebody else's house on Thanksgiving that we'd already had plans for, and then we went by afterwards for dessert, and then played Mexican Train or something like that, because we always play Mexican Train. It's a fun
what's
game.
Mexican Train?
It's a dominoes type game. You kind of you have like a little chain yourself coming off of a central point.
Yeah.
And it's just a fun game. You can play it and like have conversations, and you don't have to like focus really.
Sounds like something that would get canceled now. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Why do they call it Mexican Train?
Probably for something racist.
I don't know.
Nah, I don't know.
Maybe it's a train. Maybe it started in Mexico. Maybe you're the racist for assuming that it's racial. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, mind blown, right?
Right?
Mind
blown. I mean, rethink my whole life now. I might be a racist. No, not at all. Not at all. Some of these movies are kind of hard to watch in general. Like, they're funny and entertaining, but there's just a bombardment. Like, for Greg, he's just under so much tension and everything always seems to go wrong. Jack is raising, whose kid is this? It's
her brother's kid or sister's kid. Is it brother or sister? No, sister. Yeah, her sister's kid.
Does the sister even make an appearance in this movie?
No.
So it just seems like this random kid who is way too old to be breastfeeding to me. I don't know how old do you stop breastfeeding? Because this kid is like 3.
I mean, if you watch Game of Thrones, I mean, that kid was like 13 and breastfeeding.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. What's the cutoff for breastfeeding though, man? Like, that just seems way too old.
It varies. I mean, I mean, some people do it up to 3. Some people do it cut off at 1.
I mean, if that kid's old enough to walk up to the nipple and just like stand up and just be able to suckle from there, like, cut that baby off. You shouldn't be able to walk. If you can do that, you can walk to the fridge and go get your own drink. Man, I don't know. Let alone
make yourself a sandwich.
Right? Dang, you're old enough. You're 3.
Go get yourself a snack pack.
Kid's like old enough to go grab Oreos and walking up to his mom's nipple and squeezing off some milk.
That's the sign language.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're teaching Sebastian sign language. So yeah, we've been doing poop a lot.
Yeah.
And bath. And dad, mama.
Does he use it yet? Like,
no,
he's 5 months, you said.
He's 6 months yesterday. And you should remember that. You're kind of uncaring for not knowing the exact age of my son. That's
dang.
Kind of asshole.
Well, last video he was 5 months, so man.
But he's still learning hand-eye coordination stuff. So but you can tell when you do it, he gets a big smile on his face. So it's registering. And like when he's in a bath, I'm doing this like bath. So
that's cool.
It's clicking, but he's not correlating like, oh, I should communicate that way. Yeah, that hasn't clicked yet.
That's cool though. I mean, that shows some, I don't know, a little bit of relevance to what Jack does, because Jack's teaching the kid how to do sign language, and that kid's just busting out sign language like crazy. So
yeah.
But it is kind of a cool idea and thought that maybe they can communicate with you a little bit easier or better if you teach them visual signs with the thing, or even milk or poop. And see, look, I learned stuff from the movie.
Yeah. Austin, I see you pooping.
Perfect. That's actually
no, literally,
why I'm doing this episode.
Your bathroom.
Yeah, this green screen's behind my toilet. I'm actually on the toilet right now.
Pixar, it didn't happen.
Yeah, so he's teaching them sign language. I think that's cool that you're actually doing that with your kid. Maybe I'll try it with my kid. But that means I'd have to learn sign language, and I don't know if I feel like it. Yeah, so he does the sign language thing, but then when we were talking about breastfeeding and stuff, Jack has this invention that he has, and it is a fake nipple that just goes like on one breast, and it like
not just a nipple, it's a whole boob.
Yeah, it's a whole boob, and it like has a milk side that you like slap it in, and it's like super military. I don't know. And then man, it's just kind of disturbing. So, and plus with the kid being that old, I'm like, he's gonna develop some weird fetish or something when he grows up.
Are you guys gonna breastfeed, or are you going straight to bottle, or what do you guys have you talked?
Diana wants to do formula. She doesn't
Mm-hmm.
want to breastfeed. So
Okay.
I'm just going with whatever Diana wants to do and support that. That's all I can
Yeah.
do. And
Yeah, we wanted to do breastfeeding, but since he was premature, her milk wasn't up to par or production. So it was this whole stressful thing, and it got really hectic, and like her pumping and trying to feed, and I'm trying to like use like a syringe to like have the milk that she pumped coming out. It got too stressful. So she's like, no, I can't do this. Let's just go to the bottle, and it's been so much easier since. So,
I think the nice thing about bottle feeding and formula is, based on all the books I read so far, is a lot of them say, as a man, you'll probably feel a bit hopeless in times and like useless, like there's nothing you can do, especially if your wife is like breastfeeding and all that, because you're not part of the feeding process. So I think it's going to be nice having that ability to be able to
yeah.
feed our kid and let Diana sleep a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
and have those responsibilities. Plus, I think it's the connection thing too. So
Yeah.
I think it's going to take off a load on her, and then yeah, I'll be able to help out a lot more. So I think
Yeah.
that's the thing.
There's pros and cons to both. Having you being able to partake in that, and like you said, her being able to sleep and take shifts will be make things a lot easier for you guys, and you'll feel more rested, and you'll get to make that connection.
Yeah, everyone keeps asking me about the baby formula shortage, and they're like, "Are you stocking up on it?" and all that. I'm like, I'm just
It'll be
hoping
up.
by
It'll be fine by then.
I've been at the stores, I've seen formula and stuff there,
Yeah.
and then I don't want to be the guy that goes and tries to stock up on formula when there's babies out there right now that need the food. Like, I don't want to be taken away. I don't need to create another toilet paper situation,
Yeah.
but for babies, because now you're like putting other babies in an inconvenient spot or putting their lives at risk for people that really need it. I'm like, we'll figure it out as we go. It's like, there's got to be, even if there was no formula, there's going to be some hippie on YouTube that teach you how to make everything organic straight from, like, I don't know, like smashing some beans up and throw some apples in it. I don't know.
Well, my older sister, she made her own formula from like goat's milk or something like that. I think it was with some other, you got to put in vitamins and all that.
I'm
I think
sure
peanut butter is one of the things.
there's a way somehow. So I'm not too concerned about all that right now.
So one thing that's always classic in these Meet the Parents Fockers movies is the play on the Focker name. And,
oh, even their family runs with it hard.
Yeah. Yeah. There's, obviously Gaylord Gay Focker, and then Dom Focker, and, Little Focker.
Mm-hmm.
And then she'll be Pamela Martha Focker.
Uh-huh. So. I know how it sounds, but I'm doing that. Oh man, they had awkward moments too when they all go to dinner. You remember like that? They're like eating dinner together. They got the what's the thing that they're dipping? They're dipping their food.
The fondue?
Fondue.
Yeah.
But then they're also, Gaylord's family is just super open book, open about talking about sex and like all the awkward moments in their life, and they bring them up at inappropriate times. At dinner, they're trying to talk about all their first sexual experiences, and Jack himself is super stiff and doesn't want to talk about sex or anything. I never quite understood the shame or discomfort with talking about sex. I'm pretty open about talking about sex and stuff. I mean, everybody, for the most part, does it, and that's how we were all born in the first place. So I don't understand.
Not me. I was brought by the stork.
All right, yeah, good. There ain't no sex in my life. Bird flew me in. Yeah, I don't know. So I kind of relate more with her or his family, just being a bit more open about it. If you want to talk about it, then that's great. Like, there's really no shame, and if somebody does something weird, that's their own thing. Like, I don't care. There's a really cool book that we used to pull out at parties all the time, which makes it sound even more like Greg's family is Diana and I would always pull out this book called Sextrology, which is like astrology, but it's all about sexual relationships, how you would match up with the person you're with. So takes your birthday into account, and yeah, you can just read how compatible you guys would be. And then it also tells you based on your birthday what kind of weird fetishes you might be into. So it was always fun for us to go through and ask everybody, go through the huge list of sexual interests that people would have and see how well it lined up. But one of the funny parts of that book was my friend Steven. I said, let's do me and Steven, just see how compatible we would be sexually. And turns out he and we get along super well. It's like, if we wanted to be in a relationship, we'd be like a perfect match. So just weird, fun, awkward conversations.
I've looked up that book, and I've checked out your fetishes, and you are one freaky dude.
Yeah. Parts of it I can be. So I ain't ashamed. Yeah. I think one of the weird ones that is just not me, basically it was like pegging or something, and I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna
pegging.
Yeah, do you know what pegging is?
If you guys don't know, I guess we'll be looking that up. Half of our audience is Googling pegging right now.
We're not going to show a picture of it.
No pop-up.
No pop-up for this one. But yeah, I was like, nah, definitely not into that. So
pegging. Is that some sort of prosthetic amputee thing?
Oh, you don't know what pegging is?
No.
Yeah, it's where the dude basically takes it in the butt with a strap on, and when the woman is using a strap on the guy. So I'm like, definitely not my thing. If that's your thing, I don't care. No judgments here, but it's definitely not my thing. So, but yeah, so they talk about all the awkward conversations. I've got on that weird tangent again, but they talk about all the weird conversations there. They bring out Gaylord's baby book, and
then a fight breaks out, and then the foreskin ends up flying into the fondue.
Yeah, the mom's like, what's this? Is this the, I think she said it was like the
belly button cord? Belly button cord.
And she's like, no, that's his foreskin. And then I don't know, Gaylord's over it and trying to take the book away, and then of course the foreskin goes flying in the sky and falls right in the fondue, ending dinner right there. But there's a lot of weird moments like that.
Could have made things a little more tasty. Who knows?
Man, that thing probably would have softened back up in the heat too.
No, I would have crisped it up.
Really, you think? Nice it's all dehydrated
like a pork
right now.
rind.
I mean, it's already dehydrated. You think it'd rehydrate it? My thing.
No, fried oil. That's gonna crisp it up like potato chip and pork rind.
Guess you're right. Maybe you should try.
You don't have a. Maybe if you're in the audience, if you're watching, if you got a foreskin recipe, leave it in the comments.
Oh man, is that considered cannibalism though?
That's a good question.
Well, do people still?
I don't know, because people eat their placenta.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask. Do people still actually do that?
Yeah, there's people that do it.
Is that considered cannibalism? Acceptable cannibalism?
No, I think you have to kill the person to be cannibalism.
I mean, I just think cannibalism is just eating human meat or body parts. So,
yeah, like that.
Like Mike Tyson in Holyfield.
Pig farm up in Canada. Did you hear about that? There was a pig farm up in Canada, and the guy was a serial killer and had been feeding the bodies to the pigs, and then the pigs had gotten slaughtered and gone off to the sausage and bacon factories.
Dang, so there's a chance that we might have eaten people.
Soylent Green is made of people.
Did you have a favorite scene or anything in this movie that you kind of related to the most, or anything that just cracked you up? Or
the names is always, I think, the thing that cracks me up the most.
Yeah, hey, Focker, get over here.
Yeah, one thing I can relate to the most, and it's a sign that I am old now because there's two things I made fun of a lot as a kid: RVs and pontoon boats. And now I want both of them right now so bad.
I think that's just the stages of life.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to do the same thing with me for camping. Like I love going camping, like tent camping. Still love tent camping.
Yeah.
So I know I'm still young enough for that, but man, I don't know how I used to in my teen years or early 20s lay on just the ground with a sleeping bag because I woke up. I tried that recently. Woke up and my back was killing me for like a week. I'm like, what's going on here? So I bought a camping cot and all that, and now
Yeah.
I'm doing good. So next step is probably, getting a small trailer or, or something, and I'll be like my dad. Go from like small trailer, you move up to like a toy hauler, and then next step for him is probably going to be
Boom.
RV. But
Class A.
I mean, his toy haulers are like probably the size of RVs that he's towing around anyway. So super nice though when you actually get to stay in it. There's like two beds and stuff. So I think we're all on our way there.
What was your favorite scene or most relatable?
I think I like the part where Gaylord's mom, Rosalind, had to
You cheated.
Yeah, where she had all the old people over and she's doing the weird like sex class, and they're like 70-year-olds and they get out these Liberator pillows and she's like, okay, now it's time for reverse cowgirl, and they're the one old guy's super excited and just like hip gyrating and stuff. It's just like some weird funny scene to just see, old people doing things that you don't necessarily want to see, but it still happens. Because isn't in real life, like old folks home is like rampant with like STDs, or is that just a thing that?
No, I've heard that too. I'm willing to bet it's true. Because I heard, sex is just skyrocketing in these like old folks homes. So,
I mean, good on them, man. They're just hooking up left and right. So I think that stuff was all funny.
I thought an interesting thing that, if you kind of look at it, there was all this conflict that arose because his side of the family, they're super carefree with their raising of their kids, and her side, was very strict and structured and all of this. And so the parents were all button heads kind of about it. But if you like take a step back and look at it, like both of them have good points that should be taught and implemented in raising your children. I think a balance of the both is the right way to raise a child. You give them freedom, but you give them structure at the same time. You let them have fun, but you give them chores and
like let them self-soothe at some part, but then also give them the affection and love that they need. It's not necessarily neglect. So I think that is a cool thing too, is they were just showing the strict dynamics of two different ways of raising a kid, where it should just be kind of in the middle of it between the two. Because I think Jack, for me, is just way too strict on that. So I think I'd be leaning a little bit more, but I don't know how I'm going to be as a parent yet. So we'll see. I think I'm going to be the fun one, and Diana's going to be the strict one.
Stacy thinks I'm going to be a pushover. And I'm like, no, I'm going to be like, I'm about rules. Like if I say, there's no eating in your room, that means no, there's no eating in your room. I want to teach him, the importance of like, having structure, having rules, having chores, having responsibilities, so that when he's an adult, he's, not a total a-hole.
Yeah, I just had a random question. Is there anything that you learned, like that you utilize, or that you just learned about yourself, or learned about relationships, or anything that you learned from Stacy's parents that maybe you wouldn't have learned or had that perspective if you never met them?
Her side and my side are completely different and so alike in many ways. So alike in that it's a loving, nurturing, family. But her mom and her grandmother, I mean, they're all from like cop and fishing families.
Mm,
So they swear like there's no tomorrow. I mean, they're dropping F bombs like,
yeah.
you know. And my side of the family, I had never ever heard my mom swear. I've heard my dad swear once, and it was for a punchline of a joke. So totally different. But I'm more like her side where we swear and it's what it is.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I've learned something, but I appreciate that they're kind of more carefree like that.
Yeah. My parents and Diana's parents are pretty like different. So Diana's parents, her dad psychologist, her mom school teacher. They both worked at a school, so he was a school psychologist as well. So you got that aspect of thinking that or feeling like you're being analyzed. I've never really been too worried about it. I'm just like, if you're gonna analyze me, analyze me. I don't care. I am who I am and all that. But they ask questions and they wanna learn about you. So they're constantly just talking with you and asking questions and how do you feel about certain things. And that totally threw me off when I was integrating into their family because my family doesn't talk about personal things. We never had those necessarily heart to heart conversations where you sit there and you be real. So for me in the beginning, it felt like I was just being pried into constantly like, man, why are they drilling into me and like asking me all these questions and stuff? But I just learned over time that's just how they want to get to know you and learn who you are and show you that they're interested. So then you go to my family. We didn't talk about a whole lot of personal things growing up. We never really, from what I remember, we didn't have that relationship where we just talk about issues or things that are going on. So when Diana met my parents, she goes, "Man, your dad doesn't like me at all because my dad's pretty quiet when he first meets someone and is kind of selective on what he talks about because he's trying to figure out you and just see what your comfort level is as he's getting comfortable himself. So we just don't ask questions. We're not that type of family. We'll talk about things we enjoy doing or weird little hobbies or nothing too personal, I guess." So Diana was like, "Man, your family hates me." And I'm like, "Man, your family really is like prying into my life a bit much." So that was an interesting thing. I think I just learned to appreciate both though. And I actually just like we're doing here, talking about personal stuff and getting into the realness of it all, I think is something that I've always enjoyed. So having that with Diana's family has been a nice, cool thing. And I'm slowly developing that or more and more with my dad and all that. So I think as I'm watching my dad soften up a bit over the years that we've become a lot closer with that communication. So yeah, I think I just kind of learned that from her family is just showing interest in someone else and trying to ask questions.
Yeah, my family, they weren't really, you know, asking questions, get into the personal stuff. It wasn't like I felt like they didn't care or they didn't have interest in it. It was just we're Swedish. My mom was Finnish. We're kind of more reserved in a way like that. I think.
Yeah,
A lot
you
of people.
reserved.
Yeah, well,
I was like,
I'm
you're
so
probably.
opposite. Yeah, I'm
Yeah, I was like,
opposite. But
yeah,
like when a lot of people will meet a Swedish person, they're very kind of like your dad. They're kind of like standoffish, and they're kind of trying to figure them out. But then once you get to know them, I mean, they'll just like offer their shirt off their back to you. So
yeah,
it's kind of like that.
yeah. I did tell Diana. I was like, no, my dad loves you. He thinks you're great. Like he just doesn't talk a whole lot when you first meet him, and now he talks all the time. So because he's comfortable. I
Yeah.
think part of it too is a protection thing for him. He probably when you're dating, doesn't want to get too invested in the person. And he's kind of maybe, I'm just like guessing, but kind of trying to be a reserved version of himself to try not to embarrass you, which is something that Greg was so worried about and was trying to stifle his parents to say, don't, like, be yourself, but don't be yourself and kind of reserve it. Like, so anything that they were doing was too much for him. And so Greg's dad just gets fed up with it. He's like, I can't do this. I can't not be who I am just because someone else is all stiff and uptight and all that.
It's interesting to see different families and, you know, how people have been raised and how they turned out, and trying to figure out what's right, what's wrong. I mean, there's so many ways to raise a kid. It's like, who really knows what's right? I think it kind of depends on the child and honestly, kind of like the family, you know, what's right for you guys.
Yeah, and then too, every family does the best with what they know or what they've learned. I always have to kind of remind myself too, I forget sometimes that, you know, my dad, I don't think he ever knew his biological father, and so he had a completely different life than I did, and was raised by a lot of different people over himself growing up. So he took the tools that he knew and learned from probably all of those different relationships and implemented them the best he knew. Yeah, so I think that's all any parents are doing, just like Jack's trying to do. He's just trying to do what he knows that works. It's just like Greg's dad is okay with being the stay-at-home father and is not ashamed of it because that's what works best for their family and that's what works best for them.
I have a fun fact. Fun fact! Do you know who Ben Stiller's dad is?
Oh, man, I can picture his face. He was the father in King of Queens.
Yep.
And I'm trying to remember
Jerry
his real
Stiller,
name.
yeah. Jerry Stiller.
His name's Arthur, I think, in King of Queens. That's what name was popping up in my head.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's a great show. Love that show.
Yeah, he's super funny too. So, do you have a first word that you're trying to get Sebastian to say first?
Obviously, I want it to be dad, but I kind of have a feeling it's going to be cars, even though it's harder to say because I'm always by the window with him at Stacy's office when I go in there, and I'm standing by the window because he just likes to look out, and there's always cars going by, and I feel like it's going to be cars. I think, but I'm hoping for dada.
Yeah, I'm
going to melt when he says dada.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident that when we have our baby, her first word is either going to be moo or duck. I don't know. Because I sing...
Dick.
No. Because I sing songs about my cat all the time. And then when I see my cat, I call him Mew or Moo. And then instead of saying look, for some reason, it just clicked. Oh, I know why. But I say, look at that Moo. I don't know. It's just what I do. It's like it's a weird thing. And then I said, look at that Moo. Like weird little things. And I have like songs that I just go nuts with. It's been years of cat songs for me, and I'll turn any song into a cat song.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have a feeling that it's going to be something on the lines of that, no matter how much we want it to be mom or dad or whatnot. It's going to be something really weird, I think.
What are you excited most for with having a baby?
Oh, man. You ever see those pictures of where they say, oh, what it's like with mom with the baby, and they're like all gentle and nice, and then the picture of the dad just squishing the face. Like, I'm super excited to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
And like seeing your baby start walking and stuff for the first time, I think all those cool little moments are something I'm mostly excited about. Because, man, kids are so awkward when they first start walking. I think it's just cute and fun. And
I'm still awkward when I walk.
Yeah, so I think those are the couple of things.
Left leg, right leg. Left leg, right leg.
And just because I think I just picture, you know, the excited coming home and like having my daughter be super excited that, you know, dad's coming home and running up and all that. I think that's going to be the exciting moments and stuff for me.
I told Stacy yesterday when we were walking around, there's a little pond here, and walk around it, and there's kids riding bikes, and I was like, I'm really looking forward to like teaching him to ride a bike.
Yeah,
I think that'd be fun.
I'm gonna try to get her into some of my hobbies and stuff. I'm like, I need a camping buddy, so hopefully I can get her eventually down the road into camping and stuff, but we'll see. Is there anything else in this movie that you wanted to touch base on, or should we get into reviewing this movie? Like, what's our scale?
let's review this. How about this? How many cc's of sodium pentothal would Jack give you in this movie?
Man, does he explain how many cc's it is in this movie? I can't remember.
There's probably in a syringe. There's probably no more than 20.
I'm probably gonna go with a solid just 10 cc's. I enjoyed the movie, but like
That's where I would put it.
I don't think it like pulled me in as much as I remember. I think since I just watched it again, I didn't. It's cool, it's funny, but I want to say the first one might be a little bit more funny, but also a little bit more brutal on Greg as well. I think there might be some more funny moments.
Yeah, there's more. I think there's more like one-liners, like little gags and stuff in the first one. With Owen Wilson being in there, and just the awkwardness. Yeah, I think the first one was funnier. But I agree with you. I would give this one a 10. Hey, it's the first time we agree on a rating.
Right? No adjusting here. You seem like we more talked today just about our own stuff than the movie, so kind of shows where it was at in it. But I don't know. It's a decent movie. It's half a syringe, 10 cc's, and we're gonna have somebody in the comments say, "Man, 10 cc's would kill you."
All the male nurses.
Not medical professionals, so don't use that.
We are not medical professionals. We just play one on a podcast.
Mm-hmm. So I think, is it my movie next?
Yeah. That's you throw one out.
But
there.
Either way, bam, for whoever's movie it is, whatever movie we choose, and we might even switch it up. Maybe it's even Meet the Parents. Who knows?
Oh, you gave it away.
Oh yeah, we can't do that one. Cross it out. Not Meet the Parents. Some other movie. Not going to be Meet the Parents. So make sure you like, subscribe, hit up all the socials. Just look it up, Dad's Talk Film. And we have a Patreon and we have a Venmo. And we actually had our first Venmo for $20. So we're super excited for that. So thank you, Marina. We are very appreciative of that. If anybody else wants to be a part of the Dad Squad, the DTF Squad, like,
is that what we're going to be? The Dad Squad? Or are we going to be the DTFers? Or we're still mulling it over.
I don't think we need to go Dad Squad. That takes away from everyone else. But we can go with DTFers. I'd like that.
DTFers.
So, I don't know, whatever we call it. And then if you guys have a better name for your community, put it in the comments. Like, we're open. We don't care.
And if it's a really good one, we'll switch it. Like, we'll drop everything. We'll change the name of the show.
I don't know if we're gonna go that far, but
we've got a whole new channel.
Right?
We're now talking about cars and baking.
But so
all right. Thanks, guys, for coming.
See you guys next time. Peace.